Recruiter here to review your resumes. The resume we have up first is a full stack software developer. Now, this is a bad resume that gets pretty much no interviews, and I know this because they told me their ratio. This is the secret of how you can tell if your resume is good or garbage, is the ratio. The ratio is, simply put, how many applications it takes to get an interview. That's all it is. Your goal should be 50 applications to one interview at a minimum. And when people follow my method, they end up getting one interview per 7 applications. So this person, it takes them 150 applications minimum to get a single interview. So this is a bad resume. This person is a full stack software developer, and I do more than tech, but tech right now is in the toilet. So like 95% of the resumes that are sent to me are tech. So what we need for full stack dev is degree, TypeScript, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, TypeScript, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, TypeScript, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, TypeScript, JavaScript, HTML, CSS. If you do not have TypeScript, JavaScript, HTML, CSS in the first bullet point of your first job or internship or project, you are probably going to get rejected. But Lee, everybody does not matter that everybody has it. You need it. It's in almost every single job description, and if you do not have it, it's an almost instant rejection. So, TypeScript, JavaScript, HTML, CSS. RESTful APIs or REST APIs, SQL, any, cloud, any of those are fine. Backend, Python, C#, .NET, or Java. React, React.js, Angular, Node.js, Vue.js, DevOps, CI/CD, Agile, Git, and extra credit for the scale, AI tools, and cross-functional. So, recruiters only have 20 seconds to find what we need in a resume, and if we cannot find it in 20 seconds, we have to decline your application. So, how much will I be able to find in 20 seconds? Probably not a lot, since, well, they have 150 to 1, which is a bad resume. So, let's go. 20 seconds on the clock. And start. Okay, this doesn't count. Where's your education? Okay, it's all the way at the bottom, but you do have it. Collaborated with an agile team of 7 to launch, serving high schools while utilizing Docker. Okay, hot dog. Architected Node.js and AWS. You already mentioned AWS. And DynamoDB and Java and time. That's it. This would be a rejection. So, where is your TypeScript, your JavaScript, your HTML, your CSS? I don't know. I did not see it. This was as far down as I could go, right? This is why your formatting is important, which, by the way, this formatting is bad. This is so incredibly dense, and there's so little white space that you actually cannot read almost any of it in 20 seconds. This is what your resume should look like. This is how you do it. It's on my website. The link is below. The only people that do not want this type of format are job hoppers or people with high level director roles. Otherwise, you want to use this format. It should look like this, from an accountant to a recruiter to a full stack developer to a PhD quant dev. So, now, you're going to immediately go, wait a minute, Lee. He has, or she has, JavaScript, TypeScript right up here. What about this? Why did you say that doesn't count? Well, unfortunately, recruiters are not looking for keywords. We're looking for qualifications. And the difference between a keyword, which is what the hiring team needs, which is up here, and a qualification is a keyword plus how you used it, plus the business reasons you've used it, plus where you've used it. And if it's not those 4 things, not counting education or years of experience, it does not count as a qualification. So thus, this technical skill section does not count because it does not tell me how they did it or where they did it or the business reasons they did it. So this might as well not even exist on your resume, which is why you really do not want skill sections. Everybody fights to have skill sections, and they're mostly worthless. Then we go down to here, and while I am looking for Agile, right, Agile is something that I'm looking for, and I think you actually did describe how you used Agile pretty well, right? This is pretty good. The problem is I only also see Node, and you did AWS Lambda when I really need... Wait, here's the problem. Okay. You cannot just say AWS Lambda REST API. You need to say AWS, comma, REST APIs. Otherwise, they may not know this is the same, because if Java is different than JavaScript, then AWS Lambda REST APIs may be different than AWS or REST APIs. It doesn't matter what it actually is. It matters that that is something you learn as a tech recruiter early on. JavaScript is different than Java. So you cannot have it like this. So you actually disqualified yourself by putting them here and not even putting all the commas. Also, DynamoDB is a hot dog. And what I mean by a hot dog, which is one of this resume's big problems, is I want you to imagine that you're at a restaurant and you're like, all right, waiter, I would please like a hot... let's redo this. I'm still recovering from being sick, so my brain's a little off and my voice is a little fried. Redo. I would like a cheeseburger with pickles and onions. So the waiter goes, you want a cheeseburger with pickles and onions? And you say, yes, I want a cheeseburger with pickles and onions. So they say, all right away. They go back to the kitchen and they bring you back a hot dog with cheese, pickles, and onions. And they say, all right, here is what you wanted. And you would look at them and you'd be like, no, it's not. I wanted a hamburger with cheese, pickles, and onions. This is a hot dog with cheese, pickles, and onions. And they say, well, a hot dog has meat just like a hamburger. A hot dog has buns just like a hamburger. A hot dog can have cheese, pickles, and onions just like a hamburger. Thus, what you wanted when you said a hamburger is this hot dog. You would look at them like they were crazy and you would walk away. And that is the exact problem with most of this stuff in this resume is you fill this with hot dogs. Right? Like, I'm not asking for CDK. I'm not asking for DynamoDB. I'm not asking for Spring Boot. I am asking for Java, but not Spring Boot. I'm not asking for HTMX. What I'm asking for is this stuff. And anything that's not this stuff is a hot dog. And you have filled this resume to the brim with stuff that is not relevant to what we're looking for. It's adjacent. It's like LaCroix, right? Like if the flavor was in the same room at the time that it was bottled, but that's not what we're looking for. You have to be explicit. So, but let me read what this person wrote. I'm a full-stack software engineer with about 2 years experience. I have 3 main hurdles. The reverse international student bias. I am a U.S. citizen living in Jersey, but my degrees are from India. I didn't even notice, bro. You're fine. That's not a problem. Like, as long as you do this, just say U.S. citizen in X. It doesn't matter where that degree is. That as long as you put your U.S. citizen in whatever, that's fine. You don't need to put no sponsorship needed here. Just put U.S. citizen located in X. All right, I didn't even notice that was a problem because the rest of the resume was so bad. I suspect recruiters see the foreign university and assume I need a visa. No, they don't even get to that point because the rest of the resume is bad. Awkward experience level. I have a mix of internships, co-ops, and recent full-time software roles. I'm overqualified for standard new grads, but fall short on the 3 years for more mid-level. Again, that's not a problem. The problem is your resume has absolutely nothing in it that I would need for a full-stack developer. That is your problem. It has nothing to do with the other 2 things you mentioned. And 3, short tenure. My most recent position lasted 6 months. Yeah, I mean, that's not great, but it's not the worst. 6 months is okay as long as it's singular. I would make, this is a co-op, so that one's fine. This is an internship. I would make sure to mention internship here. So you want to put it here and just put intern at X and Y. So intern at X and Y, intern at X and Y, intern at X and Y, because a singular job of about 6 months is not a deal breaker. The rest of these maybe, because this is so dense, they may actually miss the internship because this is a giant wall of text, but that's not the problem. So like your fear in this resume is that they think you're not a citizen, but the real issue why you're not getting any interviews is the resume is terrible because it doesn't show that you're actually a full stack dev. So I'm going to need you to delete kind of all of this, and I'm going to need you to follow this right here and the guide, which is again on my website, because right now there's nothing in this that would make me think you are a full stack software developer. And if you are not a full stack software developer, why would I move you forward for a full stack software developer job? You wouldn't. So that is your problem. It's not the fact that you're a reverse international. It's not the fact that you have about 6 months experience at this one role. And it's not the problem that you're like in between the two levels. It's this resume has almost nothing in it that would imply you're a full stack. So that's all I can do for this resume. But before we go to the next one, I just want to thank y'all for liking, commenting, subscribing, and watching. I appreciate it. And to my members, thank you very much for, well, being members. They get access to videos a little bit early. You can join in the link below, but your support, I really, really appreciate it. And if anybody else ever needs any more help, they can join my live stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. PST on both YouTube and Twitch at twitch.tv/headlessheadhunter. And that is where I review these resumes. So I will go to the next resume right now. Now we're going to the next resume. Next resume. This is another full stack. So we need the same things. I don't need to explain these again. This person said, recently received a layoff notice from a Fortune 500 company. Boo. My contract officially ends near the end of May. In a rare example of someone without formal education who've been very successful. Okay, so you don't have the CS degree. Got it. That will affect your chances, but that doesn't mean you can't get a job. It just means it's going to be a little bit tougher. Long story short, I got my break after offering the CEO of a company a side project. They reached out to me directly and explained that their lead engineer attempted and failed to create something similar, and I was able to implement it without any access to their code base, and they gave me an offer on the spot. That is awesome. So, all right, let's see what we can do with this resume. So we don't have a ratio, but that does still mean we need to do the 20 seconds. So 20 seconds on the clock. Can I find what I need? I don't know. Let's find out and go. Okay. Built a custom field system using React, TypeScript, PostgreSQL that allows users to display update fields. It's not terrible. This is a hot dog. Built using TypeScript AI. Okay. Time. Okay, I see this. So, this is not the worst. Like, you have some of this stuff. The problem is I want you to condense this because this is pretty... This is a lot of, I think, chaff would be like the... Not chaff, that was the wrong word. There's a little bit of hot dogs here, and I don't think you need to have 6 bullet points for this. I think you could probably fit this role into 4 bullet points. So remember, I want to see TypeScript, JavaScript, HTML, and CSS in the first bullet point. I want to see that in the first bullet point. I also need you to fix your formatting to make it look like this so that it's legible. And again, I also need to know, I like this part, like the user display and update fields, but I would prefer you just put built our web page or whatever using TypeScript, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and CSS, PostgreSQL, and that allowed us to reduce our AWS storage costs or something. It's a little, each of these is too long-winded. And your goal should be a minimum of 3 keywords per bullet point and a maximum of 6. But I think your first line here can probably have 6 keywords in it, compared to right now it only has 3. Like, these can probably be combined. And then the only thing I have here is React and HTML. I don't need DOM. And then we already have TypeScript up above, because remember, you don't want to repeat the same keyword in the same job. You want to repeat it in other jobs. So as an example, let me show you this, because space is a premium. So TypeScript here, good. TypeScript here, bad. TypeScript, hypothetically, let's say this was TypeScript, good. That's good. So I'm going to need you to go through this, and I'm going to need you to shrink it. Because, again, it's not the worst thing ever, but you don't need this much. There's a lot of chaff here. Because again, you have AWS up here, and then you also have AWS down here as well. So you're repeating a bunch of lines, and I really think you can get away with having 4 bullet points max. Because you've only been there for about 2 years. And then same with this. Like, you don't need 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bullet points for a job you've been at for less than 2 years. This one can go because you've been there for like almost 10. But yeah, you're overdoing this stuff. So shrink it, make it more concise, and you're going to stand a much better chance once you fix your formatting. Next resume. This is a resume of a patient access coordinator. So what we need for a patient access coordinator is high school diploma or prior experience. They typically want you to have like a GED, but sometimes you can actually get away with not having it. Medical billing, scheduling, medical office, computer skills, preferably MS Office. One of the following: admin, receptionist, front office, customer service, organizational detail, ability to meet deadlines, multitask, and a valid driver's license. So let's see. What is this person's ratio? The answer to that is unknown. So let's see what is good and bad about this. 20 seconds on the clock. This is actually a relatively hot market. You may actually get more than 20 seconds. And go. I hate looking at this. None of this matters. Where's your education? Bachelor's of Arts. Okay, good. Okay, provided administrative support and scheduling. It's not bad. Developed and executed outreach. This is a hot dog. This is a hot dog. Hot dog. Hot dog. Hot dog. And time. Okay, so formatting, this is a nightmare. I can barely read this. My eyes are jumping everywhere. You need to, well, you need to use this formatting. And again, you don't need this. There's nothing here that I could use. Remember, unless you are relocating, unless you are explaining a visa or you're switching industries, you don't need a summary. And then we go down here, and I actually think the first bullet point isn't bad. That is hamburgers, right? Because provided admin support, that's something I'm looking for, including scheduling, registration assistance, and confidential record keeping to ensure accurate partner information. That actually is relevant to what we'd be looking for. So I'd prefer a little bit more because I think there's really only like 2 keywords there, but it does work. But then the rest of this just doesn't matter. Why do I care that you recruited and trained worker leaders? I don't. It doesn't matter. Why do I care that you developed and executed outreach strategies? I don't. It doesn't matter. Planned and led targeted rallies to raise visibility? Cool. Completely irrelevant. Manage campaign operations and data, but you didn't tell me how. This is almost something I would look for. The problem is you didn't tell me how you did it. If you just said like manage data with MS Office, Excel, and whatever, it would be great. In fact, I don't even see that you can use any computers. Like I don't see anything that would show that you can do any computer skills. Because this could be by hand. This doesn't necessarily mean computers. So your first job almost has nothing in it. And you spend so much time on all this stuff that I just don't care about. Like, built coalitions with community organizers, that's not related to being a patient access coordinator. Right? Like, I get how it could seem like it, but it doesn't. So then we do here in design and delivered onboarding training. Again, I don't care that you delivered training. I don't know that you can use a computer. I don't know that you can do any customer service. I don't know that you can do billing. I do know that you can do scheduling because you said so in the very first part. So this is at least it. I don't see that you can organize. I can kind of see that you can organize, but I don't see that you can meet deadlines, and I don't see that you can multitask. Like, none of this matters. Like, I understand you've done a lot of impressive stuff, but nobody cares. And I'm not trying to be mean by saying that, but I'm saying, like, it doesn't matter that you cured world hunger It matters that you can use MS Office. And you know what I don't see? I don't see that you can use MS Office. I don't see any computer skills. What I would recommend is you delete all of this, and then I would keep your education up at the top. And then I would keep your languages. You actually do want to show here, like, extra languages, That is beneficial. And then I would start with this job. No, because why are these different? I don't even understand. Why are these two why did you do these at the same time? I would pick one of these, probably this one right here, and then write about that one, and then keep this one, and then probably remove everything else because it's not relevant. Like, I understand you're a smart person. The problem is they don't care. Like, this is a job that requires a high school diploma. This is a job that requires computer skills, and I don't see anything involving computer skills in this resume in the format of qualification. So that is why this does not work. Next resume. This is a resume of a Java backend developer. So what we need for a Java backend developer is Java, Spring, Spring Boot, Maven, SDLC, SQL, RESTful API, REST API, microservices, Git, CI/CD, object-oriented programming, Linux, Unix, Agile, Scrum, Cloud, architecting or systems work, Hibernate, Docker, Kubernetes, Kafka, and rare but nice to have is full stack, JavaScript, React, Angular, Vue, DevOps, and RabbitMQ. So let's see if we can find it in 20 seconds. The answer is we don't know yet. We don't know how good or bad this is, but this is like their third time, so hopefully this is the best one. And go. Okay. Solid, good. This should be one line. Software engineer turned developed an ERP system using Java, Spring Boot, REST API to manage transactional. Okay, good. Design and implement scalable payment for secure transactions. Okay. Deploy Docker-based backend on AWS, supporting. This is too wordy. You don't need. You've been here for what? A couple of months? Yeah, March to September. It's a couple of months. All right, let me back this up. First off, this should be one line, and how you do it is you just use the acronym. So it'd be SIT from Hoboken, New Jersey. You put MS in computer science from SIT, New Jersey, right? Hoboken doesn't matter. You don't need to put Hoboken. You can just put NJ. So this should fit onto one line. This moving to X by Y date, correct. That's what you do if you need to relocate. But then we go down to here, and part of my problem is it's just very wordy, right? Like, you don't developed an ERP system using Java, Spring Boot, and REST APIs. Okay, that's good. To manage transactional admin workflows. Okay, improving backend scalability. This is too technical, and also I need more. And why do you have 6 bullet points for a job you've been at from how long is that? My brain is not working. So March, right? It was from March. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months for 7 bullet points. No, you can get away with only having about 3 to 4 bullet points for this. You don't need 6 for 7 months. Like, what I want to see is used Java, Spring. Also, if you hear some crunching in the background, it's my dog. He has a toy that is he's very loudly chewing. So I want to see used Java, Spring Boot, REST APIs, in agile sprints, to deploy back-end services on AWS, to support our administrative workflows, right? Like, that is something I would want you to write. But right now, there's so much of this. Like, it's too deep. I don't need all of this. I need it to be shrunken, because remember, we have 20 seconds, and there's no way someone's going to go all the way down to here with that amount of time, and you've only been there for 7 months. This needs to be condensed. You are pontificating too much. So I don't think the bullet points are bad in a vacuum. It's just you haven't been there long enough and you need to crunch them down, right? So implemented CI/CD pipelines using GitHub Actions and Maven. Okay, why don't you just say something like used OOP, object-oriented principles, PostgreSQL to implement CI/CD pipelines and GitHub Actions for our microservice-based applications to support high scalability or something. Like, it's too deep. You really need to go back and do some broad, like, what was the overarching goal of this, and make it broader, because you don't need 7 bullet points for a job you've been at for 7 months. 6 bullet points for something you've been at 7 months. This should fit into 4 bullet points max. And remember, this should be 1 line. You just hyphenate it. That's fine. Next, resume. This is a resume of a data engineer. What we need in a data engineer is Python, ETL, ELT, SQL, Cloud, DataX, so data models, data lakes, anything involving data, Snow, Snowflake, Snowpipe, Snowsite, ability to manage, communicate technical plans to non-technical people, meet multiple deadlines, DevOps, big data, Kafka, Spark, Hadoop, data visualization tools like Power BI, industry. Your industry is going to matter. I cannot be in every single industry, so you're going to have to put what industry you're in. And then a bonus for MS Office and a little bit of AI ML. So let's see if this is a good or bad resume. And the answer to that is bad. This is a bad resume. Where did it go? I've applied to almost 1,000 jobs and only gotten 1 interview. I changed my old resume to like the formatting you show in your YouTube videos. I want to know if this resume is good to be used or it needs additional changes. So let's see if this is a better version of the previous bad one. So 20 seconds on the clock and go. Okay, this is... Don't write it like that. Led the development of an internal RAG library powering an RFP, hot dog. Python, okay. Git to AI agents, hot dog. Architected a data warehouse, actually something I'm looking for. ETL, you already mentioned Python earlier, and SQL on AWS. The rest of this is a hot dog with data modeling principles, and you did not tell me why, and declined. So, first things first, this does not look like this. I want you to look at this, and then look at this. Do these look the same? They do not. This is not how you write this, okay? We need to make sure that this is 1 line, this is 1 line. None of these certs matter. And none of this should be bolded. The only thing that should be bolded is your name, your education and certs, the title, not the things in it, and work history and project. That's it. Nothing else should be bolded in your resume. So none of this little lines, none of this bolding up here, none of this bolding up here. Also, you don't need to put your GPA for the second one, nor the first. You've been out of school for 4 years. That's kind of weird. Right? Like, just put status graduated. In fact, I don't even think information systems and information technology, I don't even think you need your bachelor's on here. I think you can probably just get away with just putting your master's, because they're basically the same degree. Then we go down to here, and the problem is, again, you gave me almost nothing but hot dogs. Led the development of an internal RAG library. Why do I care about that? Powering an RFP web app, leveraging OpenAI, LLM, ChromaDB, vector search. Cool. That doesn't matter. Did you notice that here? Because I did not see that. Whoop, knocked my own glasses off. I don't see that. Like, you want a little bit of AI, but you don't want to fill your resume to the brim with AI. That's actually a big problem that a lot of people have, is they fill it to the brim with AI, but you only want a little bit. Like, where's the SQL? Where's the cloud, the Python, the data? I don't see it until the second bullet point. But if you notice, is all the way down here, which is almost halfway through the amount of time that I have. Like, used Python and Git. Okay, cool, but I don't care about Git. You're not a software engineer. Git is not something I care about. Python is. To develop and deploy productions of AI agents, blah, 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 hot dog. Architected a multi-tenant data warehouse. Okay. That's something I want. With ETL pipelines in Python, okay, good. On AWS, good. I don't care about the rest of this because remember, I'm not asking for the rest of the stuff of AWS. I'm just looking for AWS with data modeling principles. Boo. Why did you do this? I don't know. You didn't tell me. What was the point of architecting a multi-tenant data warehouse? I don't know. You did not tell me. Otherwise, the sentence started off fine, but it ended terrible. Because remember, you need to tell me the what, which this sentence has, the how, which this sentence has, and the business reasons, which this sentence does not have. Again, this mostly is bad. Snowflake is good, but the rest of this doesn't really matter. Like, if you notice, you only have one actually good bullet point, and even then, good is stretching it. This is one of the reasons you are struggling to get a job is none of this stuff is relevant. You have filled your resume to the brim with hot dogs. Like, I get that it's impressive, but again, it does not matter that you solved world hunger. It matters that you've used DevOps and Kafka. And that's it. So that's all I can do for this resume, and that's all I can do for this video. I just want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and to my members who get access to videos a little bit early, thank you very much for supporting my channel. I really appreciate it. If anybody ever wants to be a member, they can join in the link below, or if you want to get your resume reviewed, feel free to join me on my live streams every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. PST on both Twitch and YouTube at twitch.tv/headlessheadhunter, where I review them live. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next video to help you get ahead of your job search. Later.